I'm about to blow your mind. Listen to this.
I want you to see the full area of Carleton. And this is from the Elections Canada website. His area, the region that I just showed you, it didn't look like that.
What Mario is proving here is that the Liberal government changed Pierre's riding boundaries so that he would lose the election. And I have a report that proves it. So in 2022, Elections Canada, which is an independent organization not connected to the government, they started doing a review of boundaries because it happens every few years. And look at this report. They publicly announced these changes years before the election. They were actively trying to undermine Pierre. And let's use the Halton region as an example. When the report came out, this is what the new boundaries for Halton looked like. This isn't what it looks like now. Now it looks like this. See how the boundaries changed? And that all has to do with this Liberal report. Because here's the real galaxy brain conspiracy, okay? They let the MPs in those ridings give feedback so that the ridings could change. And look here, Conservative MP Michael Chong, he made recommendations for changes for his riding. And you see this, Karina Gould, Mario's own MP, she also made recommendations for changes for her riding. Do you know who didn't make any recommendations for changes? Pierrepoilievre. Sorry, I can't keep up the act anymore. The process by which we change our boundaries and ridings is extremely nonpartisan. Gerrymandering is impossible in Canada. And Elections Canada will go out of their way to change riding boundaries to ensure that the demographics are similar in area. So for example, the old version of Burlington, Milton West, look at this, okay? It went all the way just to this one neighborhood in North Burlington, okay? So it's all Milton and then one neighborhood in Burlington. Obviously, the constituents in that neighborhood wouldn't have gotten proper representation because they would have only represented a tiny fraction of that riding. So instead, they changed the boundaries to include more neighborhoods in Burlington, so it was about half Burlington, half Milton. And that came from recommendations for MPs in those ridings, as well as people in those constituencies who showed up to meetings to complain about their representation. So if Pierre cared enough about the demographic shift in his riding, he could have put in a complaint and a recommendation for a change. But he didn't, because Pierre doesn't care about the people who live in his constituency, okay? He was parachuted in there from Alberta 20 years ago. Mind you, very similar to Carney, so we're not throwing stones here. But Pierre took his riding for granted. And then over 50% of the people who lived in that riding said, you know what, Pierre? Kick rocks. Anyway, long story short, it's all a Liberal conspiracy, and it's also immigrants' fault, according to Mario. So if you want to see part 2 about how it's all immigrants' fault, hit the like and follow button, and check out the next video.